I'm Tanya.
And I'm Nikki. Welcome back.
Welcome back. And we are again podcasting about the Wheel of Time. Taking a little break from our Song of Ice and Fire stuff to get into some other fantasy
Yeah, shout
tonight.
out to everybody who listened to this episode. We're kind of overwhelmed.
They like
Like
me.
that
They
anybody
really
pays
like
attention,
me.
Like, why are you guys listening? But thanks, because we're super excited and, mad props and respect to all of you book readers who are tolerating us, you know,
Yes, so if you
spreading our two
don't
cents
already
around.
know, I, Tanya, have only read the first three books, and that was a few years ago. So there's a lot I don't remember, and Nikki hasn't
Hmm.
read the books, and
I, Nikki, have only read 3 pages.
uh, we did a lot of book to show comparison last few episodes because our friend Melissa was with us, and she's read nine of the books.
Hmm.
Um, we're gonna do
She's our consulting producer at this
yeah.
point.
But we're gonna focus more on the show because even the stuff I do remember, I don't actually want to do comparisons this time. Um, if you want to tell us things that aren't too spoilery, you are
Yeah.
welcome to comment and let us know things that are cool. But I do
Hmm.
intend to finish reading them at some point.
Me too.
When I heard the show was coming, I wanted to finish them before the show, but it just wasn't in the cards. I mean, it's a huge commitment. It's 15 books.
Hmm.
And we have a book club called Wine on an Empty Stomach, and we do six
Keeps us
books.
busy.
Huh? What'd you say?
So that keeps us busy.
Yeah, it keeps us busy. It requires a lot of rereading, and I also have children, so
Yeah.
it's a lot of commitment. So we're gonna just talk about show stuff and show canon. Um,
Hmm.
Tonight we're talking about season 1, episode 4, The Dragon Reborn.
Reborn.
This was my favorite episode so far.
Me too.
Yeah, it was your favorite?
Mine. Oh my gosh, yes. I mean, yeah. If I had another time to watch it today, enough time, I would have watched it again today. But so far,
Same.
it's my favorite episode. I feel like there's a lot of like really like there's a lot of world building. Like for me, it answers a lot of the questions that I had from the first few episodes. You get to learn, you get to learn a little bit more about the Aes Sedai and how they work and the relationship with the warders, like what that's really like. You
Mm-hmm.
get to know what the orders are. They don't they come out explicitly tell you, but they hint at or they give like they talk about the characteristics of the orders, which I found really informative. And yeah, there's just a lot that happens. Lots of questions for me.
One thing I will say about the books is that we in the books we meet Logain after he's been gentled.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah.
So is it what? So what is the perspective that you get from him? Even though we said we were going to talk about the
I
books,
know.
but now I'm curious.
um I don't remember a lot, but you only kind of know what other people say about him.
Oh, I see.
Um I don't remember again, it's been a long time. I don't really remember there being a Logain perspective. It's just kind of people talking about him, and by the time we meet him, everything's already happened.
Mm-hmm.
Um
Mm-hmm.
so in the show, the first thing we do is we meet Logain, and one of the things I thought was really cool was when he channels and you see the taint.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Something
That's
Melissa
what I have
pointed
there.
out was that it looked like it had barbs. I have to
Mm-hmm.
watch again to look for that.
I have to look for that too. Um, yeah, I thought it was very interesting to see that the power being corrupted in live action
Mm-hmm.
because there's I it was interesting for me because like my note here that I have is that it doesn't seem friendly. The
Right.
power that's coming out of him does not seem friendly. It doesn't seem positive. But I also wrote that he obviously really believes.
I
He
wrote the
really
same thing. I
believes
wrote
that
that he
he
is a
is the
true
one.
believer.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
didn't come off like he's just trying to take over the world or something.
Hmm.
Um
Hmm. And he's actively resisting the darkness. right?
Right.
He's like saying, it's like, oh, you should kill him, and it's like, oh, you would, he's like, you would like that, wouldn't you? And I was like, oh my
Right.
God, he's actively resisting it. But I thought something that came to mind, like as it forms like the two figures and they're talking over his shoulders, he was like, oh, dude, he's gonna that's gonna come for you, and like giving him basically the whispers of a paranoid mind, is that it kind of closely echoed the not the words per se, but the tone of what those voices were telling him closely echoed what Dana and how Dana sounded at the end of
Mm.
episode 3, like kind of like believe in this it. Oh, I'm crossing fictions. I'm going back to Chilling Effect, the little brain suckers that are converting to the religion. uh, but yeah, it was like, you know, it's like the tone that the tone of those voices, and the message was trying to trick them into thinking that they were important and that he was being and that they're working through him as a tool instead of him having actual control of their powers. So I thought that was interesting.
I watch it with subtitles, and they named the voice in the
Oh,
subtitles.
did they? What was the name? Because I watched it the second time with subtitles while I was taking notes, but I didn't catch that.
They named it Elusha, and I don't remember the names of the other servants of the Dark One who were locked away. There's
Hmm.
a few of them. I imagine they'll show up in the show, um, but I don't remember their names. And I did not have time to really look it up because I've been too busy. But I'm assuming Alicia is one of the. Well, no, it can't be because remember he said that he hears the voices of the previous dragons, so Alicia must
Right.
be a previous dragon. The only other name we
But
got was from
he
Dana,
thinks he is.
Ishamael. Well, yeah, he
Yeah.
thinks those. He thinks that's who's talking to him, and you have to
Hmm.
wonder right now. It's like he's this true believer. You see that he heals the king of Gildane, right? To show that he's not trying to take his crown, he's actually trying
Yeah.
to save the world.
Hmm.
And even though he's this true believer, how long before the madness takes over?
Hmm.
You know,
He's
how
not
long
going to
can
be
he really
spared.
hold it back? Because with the previous, with Luz Theron, the previous dragon, who basically killed, not basically, he did kill his wife, his children, and his entire court. It was
Right.
completely driven mad and was only brought out of madness to see what he had done. So who's to say that for Logain, something similar wouldn't happen once the madness became too much?
Yeah,
How
exactly.
much of the voices is previous dragons, if that's even who they are,
If
or
that's
just the
possible.
dark one fucking with him?
I mean, it seems to me like that was something that Hinton was like, oh, if you're hearing the voices of the previous dragons, then your ass is going crazy.
I mean, if
That
you're
was my thought.
hearing any voices of people who are not there, generally
Right?
it's not a good sign for you.
And we know that it's a thing because like remember in the first episode where or whoever that dude was gentle, like, he is seeing somebody. He's got somebody next to
Yeah.
him, and they're like, "Who are you talking to? You're the only one here."
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, hinting for me.
Yeah. I do wonder how else the madness takes form besides hallucination.
Hmm. Oh yeah, that's a really good question. But I think that scene also serves to plant the seed in your head, like, well, he it's a 50-50 chance, right? It's a coin toss. You're like, oh, is the Dragon Reborn going to save the world or is he going to destroy it? We don't know. We don't know. He's just
And
as likely to save it, he says, and that's it makes you wonder, like, okay, well, one, who is it really? And two, what does that mean for, the Red Order of Ajas who are going around and gentling people? Have they already? I mean, obviously they haven't, but it's very easy that it's a possibility that they could have already killed the dragon or like
right.
gentled him.
But also, in his attempt to save the world, who's to say that while he's trying to save it, he doesn't destroy it? His
Hmm.
intention, it doesn't necessarily mean that his intentions are to destroy the world. I don't think Luz Theron's intentions were to destroy the
Yeah.
world, but he did.
Hmm.
So the
Yeah.
idea of this person calling himself the Dragon Reborn, should we necessarily think of him as evil? Or is he just misguided?
Hmm.
I don't know.
I wish we had like a theme song or something to play here for like pondering hard philosophical questions.
So when we get to the Aes Sedai camp, uh, one of the things I noticed, I'm also another thing I meant to kind of look up, which we can talk about in more detail next time, is the difference between the Ajas. So far, we've seen green, blue, and red. I know that there's also a brown, I think, and some others, but I don't know what they're gonna do for the show. So we have green, blue, and red, and I noticed. Well, we see that the green Aja has multiple warders, and who they maybe smash.
Maybe.
I don't know.
I literally wrote that down on my notes somewhere. I was like, do they smash question mark
That's what I wrote.
blueberries?
Do they smash? Ah. And then the red Aja, you notice they have no warders.
Yeah, yeah. That was actually going to be a
And
question that I asked later on. Um, just to learn a little bit more about that.
oh yeah, they truly do not fuck with men. Like
Yeah.
they want nothing to do with men. And I don't remember what the deal was with Blue Aja, and I meant to look it up, but I didn't. Sorry.
Hmm.
Um,
Drop it in the
but
comments
again,
if
we're
you know.
only yeah. Feel free to tell us, but again, we're going through show, so we'll see what the show tells us about
Hmm.
the Blue Aja because we haven't really gotten much information out of Moiraine
Yep.
about her group. Well, we do. They do say that they are like spies,
Yeah.
and that Green Aja is the battle Aja.
Hmm.
Um, we also met some more of the warders. The main one being Steppen,
Yes, step it.
who is Kareni's warder. What did you think about their chemistry? I felt like they kind of lacked chemistry.
You know what? I enjoyed it. I looked at them as like two people who like maybe in the beginning they were just like maybe not really there into each other or whatever the relationship. And to me, it's a relationship that built that grew out of respect over time.
Mm.
Because she doesn't come across like she comes across as someone who's very by the book, and like he
Mm-hmm.
might be a little bit too like a little bit too wacky and whimsical for her, but they have to belt like as I think that her like he even cracked a joke when they're in the tent and they're talking. He's like, imagine what their dinners are like if they're so quiet and stoic and like keeping secrets
Mm-hmm.
from each other. So he's like the comic to relief to her stoicism, and I think that it actually balanced them out really well.
I think I would have liked to see maybe just one more scene of them that shows their connection
Hmm.
before what happens. Obviously, we know
Yeah.
if you're listening, I'm assuming you've watched the episode, and we
Yeah.
know that Kareni dies, and
Oops.
he has such a right spoiler alert, I guess, and his reaction to it is so powerful,
Hmm.
but I just feel like I needed just like one more moment of them together
I
that was
could
about them.
I could see that being a thing, but I think that they give it to us really subtly. Like when he walks away from the fire, he's like, "Wait, what? You're getting to rest now? Did she take your shift?" Like he asks and he like
Right.
inquires about her, and he's like just looking up for her in a way that's not too hovery and like helicopter momish, but it's just like slipping in the affection where he can, as much as he knows that she'll tolerate it. That was my
Mm.
read on it, but maybe that's me projecting.
Well, it's just, I see, like, for instance, Lan and Nynaeve, who are not even bonded.
Hmm.
And one of the things that you see is Lan throw Nynaeve behind him when
Yeah.
those arrows are coming.
Hmm.
And it's just like that small gesture. And it just seemed like there was just so much there. I
Hmm.
would have liked to see that with Stepan and Kareni. Just something. It didn't
Hmm.
have to be him necessarily even protecting her. But I mean, he did inquire after her. He tells her to get more rest and all those things. But I don't know, maybe something physical. I don't know.
Hmm.
Just something. I just needed like just one piece more so that I could understand his not understand his response to her being killed is the response I would expect from a warder.
Hmm.
But I just felt like I was missing something that would
Interesting.
warrant it. I don't know. I can't like put my finger on exactly what it was.
Hmm.
It was just something about their chemistry. I just feel like I needed just one more thing to show how close they are.
Interesting.
Cause like even like when Lan says to Moiraine, you always get so
You get
emotional when I
emotional when I
drink.
drink.
Right.
Right?
So
Yeah. Yeah.
even something like that, just like what like something to take it like a that tiny push
Hmm.
further.
For me, it was when he was saying that he worries more because he sleeps less. So he's got more time to
Ooh.
worry about her. And because she's obviously very, very strained. And I feel like just like watching him watch her like go, just like put the mask back on or just like and when I say that, I mean like going from being like her little, gifting away a laugh and then going back to being super serious. And you could see the
Mm-hmm.
weight, like the toll of having to like constantly like have uh contain Logain in the seal, like wearing on her in those ways and seeing. I felt like I don't know. I feel like it worked for me. Hmm.
Okay. That's fair.
Yeah.
Did you also pick up that he mentions the Amerlin seat is mad at Moiraine?
Yes, I did pick that up. Hold on, what did I say about that? Yeah, he was saying that they don't approve of what Lana Moraine and and the Amerlin threatened to come get them personally. So what
Can
the
you
fuck did they
imagine?
do?
Right. What did you do to piss off the Amerlin seat? I'd love to see more of that. Can you believe we're halfway through already?
Don't remind me.
Um, my other question for you to think about before we get more into Logain
Hmm.
and into like the basically the end of the episode. Do you think the Red Aja was right that they should have gentled him before heading to the White Tower?
That's a tough one. It's a tough one because the Amaryllis orders explicitly for this person to be brought back, right? Um,
Right.
but he was very dangerous, and I get uh, the desire to do so because it's really stressing them out. It's taxing.
Mm-hmm.
It's taxing them, and he is super super duper strong. But I think for the sense of justice, like wanting to know for sure if this person is who I don't know what they have in, at the White Tower, their ways of like detecting whether or not this person is truly the Dragon Reborn or not. Um, but it seems that if you want to do all the right things, what you have to do is bring him back. But on the other hand, if he's such a danger, what do you
Right.
do? What do you do if he's such a
So
danger that only the three most powerful um, Aes Sedai, like it takes them, the most powerful ones, two at a time to be able to contain him? Then it's just it's a hard rest
I
to
guess
work
my
out.
question, because I get the feeling, again, I'm not gonna do book stuff, but just from the show, I get the feeling that the Red Aja are not to be trusted almost.
Oh, hell no.
Like they're like the evil Aja, it seems like, right?
It seems like they're rogue.
And
They've gone
right,
rogue.
it feels like we shouldn't want to listen to them and that we should want Logain to go get a fair trial. But my question is, what does the trial entail?
Hmm.
Because aren't all male channelers gentled?
Yeah.
So wouldn't it just be a matter of can he channel or not?
Right. That's true. That's true. If I mean if that's the protocol that they are all gentled, then I guess
Yeah,
by that logic you
whether
have
or
to
not
because it's not like they brought that the dude
right,
from the first episode back to the tower, right? And I also
right, they gentled him on the spot.
get really suspicious of trying of writing that tries to make me hate someone off the bat or for reasons. Like, do you want me to hate the fabulous red? If you do,
Your
then
favorite
why?
color.
Yes, yeah. And if
Right.
if that's it, then why? Why do you want me to hate them? And now I have to be a little bit more discerning.
Right. Yeah, because whether or not they call themselves the Dragon Reborn, male channelers are gentled.
Hmm.
So what is the trial for exactly?
Yeah. What does it? And if somebody knows, you know, inform us. Let us know. Let us know.
I also found it so scary, almost, well, yeah, scary, that Logain wasn't even So we see how, so okay,
This motherfucker
the
was
three
chilling.
he was chill, he wasn't even struggling, he wasn't sweating. Um Later on in the episode you see him smile.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's
That
like,
scared
bruh,
me.
why? Yeah. Before we get into more into Logain, the Tuathan, the Tinkers, the people who follow the way of the leaf, um, that
Wait,
group as
hold on.
well.
I just said watching the workout. Okay, Vag, calm down. The choreography when Lan and Stepan were going through their morning routine.
Oh yeah, I
I love
liked
that.
that
I love that because then it kind of established just like what the training is that they had to go through, and that it's like universal. Like all warders have gone through this. This is why they're able to like dance this dance and speak the same language. And
I'm
it,
looking forward to learning more about the warders too.
me too. I can't wait. I want to know what that process is like. Sorry, I'm just laughing at my notes.
At your own notes.
Hmm.
I was gonna say with the Tinkers, like moving on to the Tinkers, we can talk about them a little bit. I want to like make sure we kind of touch on
Yep.
everyone. Um, I got the feeling that Perrin wants to join them.
I see that as a place for him. I feel
Hmm.
like the more that he gets to he learns about them, the more that he is finding a place that might feel like home, like that might feel like home, someone, a place that'll accept him, right? Because we already know that he probably never wants to be violent or use violence ever again, and that really resonates with
Right.
him. And then knowing that there is somebody who was an assassin, right? That was her chosen job
Hmm.
and lifestyle, and seeing that this person is accepted there, that there's space for someone like him, you know, to I guess I just like come to terms with what happened, but also just escape from
Because
it.
his, yeah, I was gonna say his burden isn't just that he accidentally killed his wife; it's that no one knows he did.
Hmm.
It's like a double burden.
Yeah.
And I don't necessarily think that the Tuathan are the place for him, but I think he thinks it is
Hmm.
because simply because they're nonviolent.
Yeah. It's like a band-aid for the whole thing, right?
Yeah. But like it's like a band-aid for a bullet wound
Yeah. Yeah.
because running away isn't going to fix shit for him.
Mm-mm. As we all know, in fantasy, you
Do
can't
you
run
think he'll
away.
ever admit Do you think he'll ever admit that he killed Layla?
I'm waiting for this reveal, yes. I think he has to. Like with most characters, if like in order to like evolve or whatever, take that next step, um you have to clear that blockage. And I think it's going to be important for him to come clean to someone about it. He may not come clean to the whole circle, but he's
Mhm.
going to have to admit it to someone. And then he's going to have to understand that sometimes you have to use your strength to protect people. And if he's the biggest, baddest one in the group, he's going to be, I see him being in a position where he has to choose um, to violently defend or protect someone. And yeah, he'll have to make that hard decision.
Um Isla's story about her daughter who was murdered and how she wants to make the world better so that when the wheel turns her daughter back into the world, it's a better world.
Hmm.
I thought that was really sweet. And I think that resonated with Perrin a lot too. The idea that you're not trying to necessarily do it for yourself or for your
Hmm.
children or your grandchildren, but for, the greater world, really.
Yeah. I felt like this.
And I just,
Go
go
ahead.
ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, it just made me feel even, I just felt really bad for him
Hmm. I felt like,
because he feels so guilty.
yeah, yeah. It's something inside of him is broken.
And more and more I'm wanting it to be true that Layla was a dark friend.
Right.
Just to like ease, make might not make him feel all the way better, but to know at least if we find out that she was in fact about to kill him,
Hmm.
then it could maybe make things a little easier for him
And I think
than
that's
to just think he accidentally killed his wife.
right. And I think that's something that I mean, on top of coming to terms with, oh my God, I accidentally killed my wife, is But was she also trying to kill me? You have these two things. Like, yes, she was killing my wife. I killed my wife, but I turned around and her arms were raised. And so was she trying to kill me too? Like, it's giving me Dalinar and the
Did
thrill.
he? So again, we don't know for sure that she is a dark friend. This is
Hmm.
just our little tinfoil hat theory from Melissa, and that we also just believe
It looks like it.
and that we want to be true
Hmm.
because we thought it looked like she was about to strike him. But
Hmm.
did he see that?
I don't know.
Like what does he see when he runs it through his mind?
It's a good question.
That's a tough one. What did
Yeah.
you think about the Tuatha and Rumspringa?
Oh yeah, that was exactly what I first thought. I was like, oh, they do a Rumspringa. And I think that it's smart. I think that's the way that you build your people, right? You have to let them go out and see what's happening in the rest of the world and then actively make a decision. Do I choose this lifestyle? Yes or no? I think there's a freedom in that that's important. And the fact that
And the
most
fact
people
that
come
people
back,
come back.
they come back.
Yeah, that says a lot. If you grow up that way and you hate it, then,
Hmm. And there's
because he
something
said
new.
that, some of them go on to become soldiers.
Hmm. Yeah, I
I
really
wonder
like
if we'll
that time
meet
with them.
any, I wonder if we'll meet any former Tuatha.
That would be dope.
I
Matt,
guess it,
Ricky.
even if it's just in passing, doesn't have to be like a major plot point or anything,
Hmm.
but it'd be cool to just meet someone who mentions that they grew up as a tinkerer. What
Yeah, the
is it?
Tinkers,
One of those.
Tinkerers. Yeah, I like in that the first scene with them how they're walking and Egwene was like, "Oh wait, no, we're not from there. We're from this other place." I'm like, nobody believes you. No, but you
Yeah, he
guys
was
are bad liars.
he
Nobody believes
he
your
hit her
story.
right. He hit her with the sure, Jan.
Yeah. So funny. Yeah, I love those moments. And he obviously
Yeah.
wanted to smash too.
Um. Yeah. Yeah. He definitely has it for Egwene. Um. And as they're dancing and stuff, he's watching Egwene, and he just keeps noticing her looking around for Perrin.
Hmm.
But he didn't think she was with Perrin because he brought up whoever it was she left behind, who he doesn't know, obviously.
Yeah.
But
She had the
so
faraway look
maybe,
in her eyes at the fire.
yeah, as they stare into the stars, that was
Hmm.
cute.
I respect that he knew when to fall back.
Yeah, 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 yeah. So then we also have Matt Rand and Tom Maryland, the Gleeman.
Hmm.
Um, few things I noticed. One, bef- well, no, I noticed it, and then I was like, aha, when Tom was telling the story about his nephew. Matt's horse did not like him.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And
yeah,
when
yeah.
Tom's Yeah, and
Yeah,
when
yeah,
Tom's
yeah.
telling the story of his nephew, he mentions how all the animals their
Yeah, they
hair
get
would
their
raise
hackles
up.
up every time he came around.
Yeah, and I was like, aha, Matt. And then
Hmm.
you see that he's really sick.
Yep.
He's throwing up, and
He's
we see the
throwing up the
shadow thingy
shadows. Ugh.
from Shadar Logoth.
Yep, 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 yep. I wrote, hold on, where
And
is
I think it's obvious why, right?
it? Mm-hmm.
You say it. I don't want to say it. You say it.
What? I put
Why he's throwing
my note says that Matt pukes up the darkness and has basically become a tracking device for the eyeless. That's
because
what
of
I
the
put.
fucking
Because of the
dagger.
dagger. Because of the dagger. My question is, when they're in the barn, that they do the shot on the dagger, what's is that's not this dagger. It's just the dog. Is it just the dagger that Tom threw?
The one that was stuck in the wall.
Yeah, the one that's stuck in the wall of the
That was
barn.
one that Tom threw.
Okay, just checking. I was like, oh man, well maybe he's out of
Yeah.
it now. But the whole time,
No,
like the
that was one of
darkness is
Tom's
egging him
throwing
on,
knives.
right? Because Tom looks at him
Mm-hmm.
when the family approaches and he's got his hand behind his back, like reaching for the
Yep.
dagger. And I was like,
Yep.
what?
Yep.
Like, what are you doing? Like, what are you
Like,
gonna
since when do
do?
you kill people?
Exactly. You're not about it. What's going on?
Like, he's a little like lightweight thief and
Mm-hmm.
gambler. Like, you don't kill people.
I also wrote he's carrying Tom
And
Riddle's diary strapped on his back.
they, no, that really is like what it is. It's like when Ron was going all crazy walking around with that shit.
Mm-hmm. And
you
Ginny
know,
Weasley
and
hating shit and
right.
blood.
Yeah. Um, and I kept thinking, so do you want to talk about that part of the story?
Which one?
You want to just get that part done, the barn and
Yeah,
everything, the farmhouse?
yeah, let's do it.
So, because we can just wrap that part up.
Mm-hmm.
I kept thinking, could Matt kill a little girl? Even with the shadows on him,
Mm-hmm.
could he kill a little girl? And I don't know. And because I don't know how evil Shadow Logoth is, I don't know the kind of hold it could have on him, right?
Mm-hmm.
Tom thinks that
Excuse me.
he can channel and that that's why he's acting the way he is.
Yeah, because they don't
But
know he
Tom
has a
doesn't know
dagger.
where that dagger.
Yeah.
Right, Tom doesn't know about the dagger. Oh yeah, that's why I knew the
And
one in
Matt,
the
but
wall
Rand
was the
doesn't know
throwing
about it
knife because I
either.
had to. Right,
Mm-hmm.
they need Lan and Moiraine basically.
Yeah.
Um, Something that Melissa had pointed out was that the dagger didn't have blood on it.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe Matt did not kill those people because that was my question was did Matt kill that family?
Yeah.
Because it looked like he did.
It looked the first time I watched it, it looked like he did. The second time I watched it, I wasn't convinced because it's like he came in and which makes me kind of question like the dagger's motivations and stuff too, right? Like, is it like the One Ring that wants to be reunited with like whatever its dark source is? I don't know. Um, but he walks into the room and like he's standing there but he's far enough removed from all the action. First of all, he's not bloody, but like the dagger, he reaches up and he points to the eyeless that's in the
Mm-hmm.
rafters, right? And it seems that maybe like in my mind what had happened was that he sensed that evil was in the barn and he came or evil was in the farmhouse and he went to investigate it because he's drawn to it and stumbled upon this murder scene. Um, and maybe the eyeless was lying in wait because it knew that they would come investigate these things, which seems like, they're giving you shelter for the night. You know that these people are probably going to wake up in the morning, at least come say, "Thanks for the bar to sleep in, bro," and then take off. But yeah, I didn't the first time I was like, "Oh my God, he's gone crazy. This is like The Shining." And the second time I watched it, I was like, "You know what? Not sold. I don't think he did it. I don't think he did it. I think that the eyeless killed everybody." And my second question is, how did Tom and Rand sleep through that?
Right? There was no screaming.
Mm-hmm.
And why didn't the eyeless kill Matt immediately?
I don't know.
Or was it waiting so it could kill Matt and Rand?
Maybe it's because
Because
they like. Are you gonna say that they don't know who the Dragon Reborn
they don't
is,
know
right?
which one the
They don't know
dragon
which it
is.
is. Yeah, that's what Marine says. But also, right, is there's a part where when Tom is talking to Rand and he was like, we're called Gleeman because there's nobody more dangerous than someone who knows, like a man who knows its history. But I was like, yeah, but
Yep.
what else is there about you? What else are Gleeman trained in?
He
Because
clearly
clearly,
has a past.
yes. My
Also, I
theory, I
did
have a
note. Remember
theory.
last time I was saying, I was gonna say last time we were saying his coat, we didn't see like all the patches, but
Hmm.
we did notice color on the inside,
Hmm.
and I did notice this time the color it is patches, but they put them on the inside of his coat
Oh,
instead
I
of him
didn't
wearing a
notice
patched
that.
cloak.
Interesting.
Yeah, so
I'll
they
check for
did
that.
keep the patches, but they made it more subtle than it is in the
Hmm.
books. But what do you think?
He knows so much. He just knows so much. I was like, oh,
And he's
maybe he used to be
dangerous
a
with a
war.
blade.
Yeah, I feel like maybe he used to be a warder.
Mm. And we leave him fighting a fade.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't see him die,
We didn't see
so
him die. Long live Blackfish.
I'm.
I'm bringing it into everyone, Tanya. If off-screen deaths don't count, long
Oh,
live
the
the Blackfish.
Blackfish. Well,
Zaddy.
we left him. We left him fighting a fade, and it makes me think back to when in episode 3 when Matt's like I fought a troll like I'll be damned. Basically, I fought a troll like I'll be damned if I get killed by a singer,
Yeah.
and it's like this is not.
Mm-hmm.
He is not your average singer.
Nope.
Clearly,
Nope.
I don't assume that all Glee men are like Tom Marilyn at
No,
all.
I definitely don't. I think that, he's like, He's a mysterious stranger with a past that nobody can figure out, you know. You see his like his archetype of character like all across fantasy. He's like the guy who knows a little bit more than he should and is like like quite capable in ways that you wouldn't expect, um, because he's paid his dues. Now he wants to just
Like
walk
Vakar,
around and sing.
like Vakar
Like
in
Vakar,
Chilling
yes,
Effect.
exactly. Like Vakar,
Right.
like Aragon, you know, like Aragorn, sorry, like it's all of these wonderful like wit. Shout
Mm-hmm.
out to Stormlight Archive. Um, yeah, yeah. It makes me excited to because I don't doubt that we will see him again.
Yeah. No, he'll be
He'll
back.
catch up with them.
Yeah. He's no, we haven't had enough Tom Marilyn yet.
Mm-mm.
Um, when he talked about his nephew Owen being gentled and how uh after Ren says that at least he got to keep his life, and Tom is basically like it was no life because once you've tasted the one power,
Mm-hmm.
you can't go back. That reminded me of Who Fears Death, when Onye's father
Mm-hmm.
has what happens to him,
Yep.
and they say that it's worse than killing him.
Yeah.
And that was what came to mind. This idea, they're all different stories, that you've tasted this power, this magic,
Mm-hmm.
and that having it taken away from you is a fate worse than death.
Mm-hmm. It leaves you as a shell. It leaves you as a shell. Like how like yeah, just like feel like imagining something where all the color has drained out, like somebody brings a saturation from 100 to 0 and all the colors have faded
Mm.
from the world,
Do you ever
how
watch House?
yes.
Did you ever see that episode
Mm-mm.
where there's this woman who's like, there's this episode where there's this woman who has like this extreme depression, and I forgot what exactly was wrong with her, but basically she wasn't seeing the world in full color.
Oh
And when they fix whatever it is that's wrong in her brain,
yeah.
she can suddenly see everything the way it's supposed to be, and it like completely changes her mental health.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Yeah, I used to watch House a lot. But that's what I like you said, it's like the saturation has been turned all the way down, and whereas you used to see everything vividly and brilliantly,
Mm-hmm.
now everything's in shades of gray. And how do you live like that?
Yeah.
Like there is no like before time.
Yeah.
You've tasted the one power. You can't There's no before it anymore. Like that's erased.
Yeah.
The one power is everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I love that we get all of this because it keeps building up to the end and asking like, well, what is the impact of gentling someone, and like how do you take care of them after that's happened? Because you hear when Tom tells the story about his nephew and just says like he just couldn't take it anymore. He just had to end his own life
And
because
just
he was
casually killed
tired.
himself at dinner.
Like he was like, oh, tired, zoop, done, and yeah. So it's something to think about, just how beautiful and how powerful, and just you know.
But then again, also the madness.
Hmm.
Once it's taken away from you, does that mean the madness is gone? Or are you now mad and also unable to touch the power?
Kill me. If that's the answer. Like, it's just, yeah.
Damn.
Where's the VA for people who have been gentled, you know? Like, what's the aftercare
Right.
program? You feel like they'd want
Right.
to keep them close, right? Like, keep them close, have somewhere just for them. And, yeah. Whew, it's scary to think about.
And I love that they use the term gentling. It sounds so peaceful, but what
Mm-hmm.
we've seen is not peaceful.
It looks violent as fuck.
Oh.
No, thank
Uh,
you.
we should also talk about Rand's dream
Oh yeah, I forgot about the dream.
before we move on from those guys. We can like kind of
Hold
do
on.
this in chunks.
Hold on, let me go back to the barn. That's how I'd separate my notes. Dagger and the raptor. Yeah, the dream. You see, Matt and Perrin have been corrupted, and Egwene is taken by the Dark One, And who is the woman that that Perrin is like
Is
hammering
hammering.
into? And what is
I
the ring
assumed
on
it
her
was
finger?
Layla.
Because I was like, you get a shot of the ring on her hand, and I'm just like, okay, well, whose hand is that? To the point that I looked
So
at what's her name? Hila?
Layla,
Hila?
Isla.
Isla, yeah, her hand to see what she was wearing on her hands. Um,
I've only other person whose rings I remember being zoomed in on is Nynaeve when she's making
hmm
the poultice for Moraine.
Very cool
But I can't
rings.
imagine that yeah, but I can't imagine that it was Nynaeve that he was hammering. I assumed it was Layla,
Yeah.
but I don't know.
You know what was interesting is
I
that with
guess.
the dream is that I felt like you could hear the wind too. There was like all this. Get out that my
Hmm.
wind noise, please. I was like, wait, why am I making wind sound effects? Yeah, but you hear the wind and then it's like it heralds the stream coming in, and yeah, it's I don't know. The dreams. I like that the dreams are kind of being incorporated in these episodes, and um, they just keep making me ask questions like who.
And as time goes on, these dreams, the in the dreams we're seeing. I'm assuming he's the dark one,
Yeah,
right?
that's my assumption.
We're seeing him instead of just the glowing ember eyes.
He's
Then you
getting
start seeing him in
closer.
flashes.
Yeah.
He's getting closer. So is he getting stronger as well? Like in
hmm
real life? Is that why they're seeing him closer and closer? Or are they getting closer and closer to madness? I don't know. Because we
Yeah.
haven't seen we've only seen in detail Rand and Perrin's nightmares.
Yeah. It's a good question. Mm-hmm.
Is the dark one getting more powerful?
Well, it makes me wonder because if Logain is like not the one, right? Which skip to the end, but if he's not the one and his power is corrupted and he has basically thousands of followers following him, does that mean that the like does believing in a false dragon increase the power of the Dark One? Who knows? I guess that's my question.
Hmm.
If the corrupted power is what's converting people. Like, are they becoming just vessels to become dark friends because they have? I don't know. I'm making it up.
That's interesting though, because the king of
Yeah, I think it's Galen.
um, Gildan,
hmm
he as soon as Logain convinced him pretty quickly
I mean, he healed him.
by simply yeah by simply not killing
Yeah.
him and then healing him. He gave him his army
hmm
and was willing to die for him and did.
Yep. Yep. I saw his ass up in the woods. I was like, ah. hmm
Imagine a king just dead on the ground in some woods because he followed this man that he just believed in so fully.
hmm
So is it the power that made him believe, the corruption of the power that made him believe, or did he really just believe? Like, was his mind just changed in that
Yeah.
instant?
Yeah. Which I mean, and that's a good question. Like, if you're healed by corrupted power, does it? I'm trying to think of what that reminds me
Does it
of.
corrupt you somewhat?
Yeah. I don't know what it's reminding me of, but it'll come back to me. Something else that I read that's got a similar.
What, someone being healed by corrupted power?
Yeah, just something that like a corrupt power touching you, and then ugh, verdammt. I can't. It'll come back to me. It'll come back to me.
Those flashing red eyes also made me think of Who Fears Death, by the way.
Mm, yeah, I enjoy seeing. It's not. It's like it's scary, but it's not too scary, you know.
Oh,
But
it
I
scared the
noticed,
sh.
like, is there writing on
I was
his
gonna say it's.
face?
I don't know what it is on his face.
It
Those
looks like it
lines,
looks like
right?
yeah, like it looks like some kind of writing.
I don't know. I was gonna say it scared the shit out of Ellington. He ran out the room. But in my defense, I told him to go to bed, and he snuck back out and saw what I was watching and got scared and ran away.
Aw, should listen to your
But I
mom,
did tell him to
kids.
go to bed. Listen to your mom, kids, or else you see some scary shit at bedtime.
hmm
um, let's see what else. because I
You
want
heard
to
Amy
talk about
Winehouse
the.
in my ear. Your tears dry on your on their own. You said, listen to mom. Now you're crying by yourself in the back room.
Ah, I'm trying to think if there's anything else we should talk about before we talk about the big thing.
The big thing. Let's see. Yeah, I want to talk
Anything?
about Alana and Moraine and their relationship. Because this is I feel like you get to see like this episode
Oh
you're
yeah, they
learning
talk
about
about when they
everybody
were.
else through the perspective of somebody else on the show, right?
Hmm.
Like Nynaeve asking like well Leandrin coming to serve rotten tea to Nynaeve and like Nynaeve being like oh yeah that one's a snake for sure. But
Hmm.
her basically learning about the warders by watching them and learning about Moraine from what Leandrin has to say
And
or
also learning about land's history from
mm-hmm,
his lost city or whatever it is, country,
mm-hmm.
Malkier.
Yep. Learning about that and like seeing or Alana and Maureen like their conversation like knowing that they're like Alana's the homie they go way back they
Hmm.
go way back to where the time that they were novices and like learning about I have like spy and intrigue blue Aja green is the battle Aja and their warriors um,
Hmm.
and just kind of learning like oh but then I thought it's you know what I thought about when they were talking when she was talking about how one warder would never do because the green ones have two. I'm like in a battle situation that makes a lot more sense, right? Having
Yeah,
two
that's
people to look
true.
for your back or just kind of like the Parshendi war pairs or whatever where you have your
Hmm.
three of you are coordinating so she's always covered from all fronts. um, it just makes more sense in battle. But on the other hand, if you're trying to like go about spying and intrigue, it makes sense to have just one. So I'd be
Hmm.
really curious to know like the number of Ajas of what sorry warders per Aja and kind of like their functionality. Mm,
Yeah, I the books definitely go into it, but I want to see what the show does.
hmm
So I won't go into like I'm gonna look it up to refresh my memory, but I
I'm
don't.
afraid of spoilers, so I'm not looking anything up.
Yeah, yeah, no, yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I mean, yeah. Well, I mean, because the show is different
Yeah,
already,
yeah.
so we'll see what the show tells us about the different Ajas. I'm trying to think if there's anything else before we just go all in on Logain and that final battle. I'm looking at my notes.
So talk about Leandrin talking about that the red protect the world from the people who misuse the one power. And my question is, well, what are you guys doing out here gentling people in the streets without bringing them back to the tower? And like, what are the rules on that? But we kind of talked about that earlier. Um,
Mm-hmm.
let's see, what else do I have? Oh, I like the part where they're at the fire, because the Leandrin invites her to the red tent. She's like, "Come,
Yes,
women
to the
are
red
welcome,"
tent.
and she was like, "Actually, I'm gonna hang out with the dudes here in front of the fire." Um, and she told them, she's like, "I thought that you guys were just servants," and they're like, "We're not servants. We're proud of them. We're
And
bonded
we
and we're
learned the
proud."
meaning of Aes Sedai.
Mm-hmm.
The meaning of Aes Sedai, servants of all.
Exactly. And it makes them proud and tired. And then I wrote here, you see Nynaeve doing the math.
Yeah.
She's like, wait
Again,
a
I was like,
second.
oh,
Hmm.
just, they're just up in the White Tower having threesomes.
Yep. Lana's
Okay.
tent's the most fun.
I
Yeah,
love it.
that's so fun. Let's see, barn. Yeah. I don't know. I think Leandra comes in and she's talking about just like the fact that what they're doing is not sustainable. You know,
Right.
let's bend the rules a little bit. Let's let him out so we can just gentle him. And Karen A. Root saying like like you are the law. You should know better. I shouldn't be the one reminding you. In her commitment to making sure the rules are followed, due process, if you will.
Right. I was gonna say like because I totally like I kind of get where Leandrin's coming from
Hmm.
because we see how powerful Logain is. It's obvious he has a
Yeah,
ton of power. So again, what is the trial about? But then it brings to mind like the propaganda we get from like watching Law and Order,
yeah, right.
where it's like, all the bad guys are really bad, so it's okay that the cops are skirting the rules
Mm-hmm.
and doing these terrible things because they're the good guys in this. And so, you don't want to go down that slippery slope of deciding who's bad, deciding
Yeah.
who's bad. And
Yeah.
so it's tough because we know how terrifying Logain is and how powerful he is.
Yeah, we see that moment where he almost like he tries to break out when when Moraine and Alana are having that talking about the dog and
Uh-huh.
stuff, and they kind of like drop their guard for a second, like asking like if this is the right thing, and he's like he tries it, he tests their seal, um, and almost breaks out, and they have to like bring him back in. So it is scary to see someone that is that powerful. Um, yeah, yeah. It was a lot. Oh, and then you get Nynaeve finding out what it was her parents said to her when they last saw her.
That was really sweet.
That was so sweet. Hmm.
Also, I thought Nynaeve was brought to the village as a baby, so I didn't think she had memories.
Actually, now that you
Mor-
say that,
Moraine
yeah,
Moraine had said she was a baby, but maybe Moraine got it wrong. Or
maybe
is that a continuity error?
that might be a continuity error. Cause I mean, did she say baby or did she say young child? Because now, like,
I
you
really
definitely
feel
get,
like she's
yeah, we might have
I
to,
really think she said baby.
we'll have to go check
But
that out again. That's a good question.
yeah,
That
I
seems like
might
a continuity issue.
cuz yeah, I was like, "Wait, what do you mean? What did you remember?"
Yeah. How
you
good is
know,
your memory?
right?
That's like my nephew remembering today what we were doing, and he's like, what, 14 months? Like he can't even talk yet, but he's like speaking to me in the old tongue.
Right. Right. So when yeah, I feel like she said baby, but maybe I'm
Hmm.
wrong. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong.
Eh,
But
it
I thought she
happens.
said baby. Um,
The wards. And then Caraday's wards are broken. I liked seeing that because I wondered what that was going to look
yeah,
like if somebody had like intruded. There's a word infiltrated
yeah.
or like gotten past our barriers, and it was nice to see like things just like disappearing.
I love seeing the magic.
Yeah, me too.
Um,
Yeah.
I was sad to see Kareni go
You know what I
because I really
wondered
liked her.
about
Hmm.
her? It's funny because when they Leandrin is like very smug in the beginning, and she's like, "Oh, his army. As soon as that, a little bit of lightning, a little bit of this, and his army ran away." And in my mind, I was like,
Ran
"Why
back to
didn't
their
you guys?"
mothers.
Yeah, it ran back to. I was like, "Why wouldn't you just dispose of the army? Like, isn't that like the rule one of
Well,
combat?
because
Like, destroy the enemy
well,
completely so they can't follow you and avenge."
in order for them to destroy a whole army, they'd have to use the one power, and they
Hmm.
can't use the one power to kill people
That's
unless
true.
they're defending themselves. So if the army's running away, they're not defending themselves; they're attacking,
Yeah,
and there's not enough of them to just fight
just to fight
if it's
outright.
an army.
Yeah,
Yeah.
those wars should have been set up
So,
further. Whoops.
but I mean, she's setting wards.
Hmm.
She's trying to watch Logain and keep him bound.
She's trying to
She's
follow
also
all the
healing.
rules and healing people,
It's
um,
it's a lot.
doing
She was
playing.
exhausted.
Yeah, yeah, for
Also,
sure.
as a total sidebar, I liked her hair, and it reminded me of how like Eritrean ladies
I was
braid their
that
hair.
was my first thought. I was like, it reminds me of the Ethiopian hairstyles, like for like weddings and stuff. Where they, yeah, I love those
Yeah,
braids.
yeah,
I love
yeah.
those.
Anyway, that's just like a total sidebar. But I really liked Karenni, and I was hoping to see more of her.
Yeah,
Sad, like, because I loved Dana, and then Dana dies,
yeah. Don't
and I
get
loved
attached.
Karenni, and now Karenni's dead. I know.
That's the rule. Don't get attached. Um, yeah, yeah. So then we find themselves like in this battle, and I have to say that when Alana stops the arrows, I was like, I will read you literally what it says in my notes. Parentheses. I felt like I was in Bridge 4. It's like all these
Oh,
arrows are coming towards you, and then you're just, like she's drawing them, and like she pauses them, and oh man, I love that moment. But you're right, I really
it
love
was
seeing magic happening.
interesting. Me too. It was interesting that when she turned the arrows, they didn't turn all the way in the other direction. They kind of just pointed down.
Hmm.
And I wonder if that's because of her being bound by the one power. that
Maybe.
she couldn't just like turn the arrows around to kill them.
Mm-hmm.
She could only turn them pointing downward to come down, and then they kind of ran under them.
Yeah. It's like that, or is it
But
like
it would have
laws of
been in defense
physics?
of herself.
Yeah.
Yeah, that too.
It's like, well, you can't. She can't
Because
send them back. She can only interrupt their path, right?
right,
It would have. I
that was
mean,
just a
yeah.
random, interesting thing I thought about. Poor Nynaeve being in the middle of a battle,
Yeah.
completely out of her element with her little
But she
knife.
was about it, you know. She grabbed the little her little side dagger and was like, "You're not gonna kill me."
She killed that guy with like a dinner knife. It was barely a side dagger. You know, I really feel like
It's
that's
her
like
paring knife for
that's
like gathering
yeah,
herbs.
it's the knife you carry around to cut your meat on the road.
Mm-hmm.
Logain. Hmm.
No gain. I remember that it's like you. Oh, I said, can we talk about Moraine's walk? Because I like how she walked into the cave. She's got like this weird like
The shadows
sideways
did
gait.
something weird when she came in.
Mm-hmm. Something is up with
I
her.
don't know what that means either. I just remember thinking the shadows looked weird, and I thought like something scary was about to happen.
Yeah.
And then it was just Moiraine, and I'm like, wait a minute, what was that? See, I
Mm-hmm.
should have done a third watch.
Yeah. I'll watch it after this.
Yeah, I probably will too.
um.
Um,
And then he can hear voice when he's channeling, and so like as someone because I think I put that as someone who has access to the one power because she doesn't hear voice as far as I know and as far as we've seen she's not hearing voices when she channels, right?
no.
And because he is hearing, that to me, in her mind, convinced her that it was false. Because as someone who has access, like truly has access to the one power, to hear someone else speaking of it and having like a different experience, like if everybody heard voices, then she'd be like, oh wait, maybe he is still, maybe it could still be him. But since no one else has said that they hear anything when they're channeling, it made
But
me
here's
lead
the
to
thing
believe that it was
though.
false.
Even if he was the dragon reborn, I don't think it means that he's safe from the madness that comes from a
Hmm.
man touching the power.
So then I guess the question is, what happens if it is a man?
He's gonna go insane and break the world.
Hmm.
Or he's gonna save it before he goes fully insane and breaks the world.
Hmm. Or can one or can one, like if it is a dragon, can he be gentled with that and still fix it somehow? If I don't know.
Well, no, because how would he fight the dark one with no power?
I don't know.
He's gonna be morose and suicidal after he's been gentled. How's he gonna fight?
Hmm.
Because let's be real, it's gonna be a dude, right?
Hmm.
All of this about a man channeling and like the Dragon Reborn's gonna be a guy, right?
I don't know if I'm ready to co-sign that.
Nynaeve.
But
She
before
would
I was
just go
gonna
to.
say I like how Moraine told him. She's like, you ain't shit. By the way,
Oh, I wrote
did
it
you write
down.
down the
She said that
quote?
his power's a pinprick of candlelight against
The
the
raging
raging
sun.
sun.
Mm-hmm.
But what I loved, absolutely loved, is when he sees Nynaeve's power,
Mm-hmm.
her immense power brought on by grief
Mm-hmm.
and clearly love for Lan, which we said
Yep.
last time.
Yeah, can we hold on? Can we talk about that real quick? um, I think I mean someone thinks that we dropped the spoiler ball on this love affair. However, as a woman, I think not. I think that the tension and the glances askew and the immediate attraction that you have to someone when you are immediately attracted to someone, I feel like I felt all of that in the acting. So take that. That's all I had to say.
Well, so yeah, Nynaeve obviously has strong feelings for Lan,
Mm-hmm.
and that grief, that moment, it was so much more than just grief. It
Yeah.
was like it was complete and total loss.
Yeah.
Everyone around her just got practically mortally wounded.
Yeah, let's look at it this
Her
way. Like
friends are
her
missing.
friends are missing, but the only people like her connect to being able to get back to her friends because Landis tells her earlier, he's like, "Listen, we promise that we're gonna help you find your friends, and once we get to the White Tower, there are resources there to help us track them down." And all of a sudden, she's now she's in this cave, and everybody who can help her is dead, and she doesn't know where she's going, and she knows from personal experience that her mentor went to the White Tower and was rejected, which means there's no hope for her finding these people. Like, whew, that's overwhelming.
It was crazy. And so then she shows us this huge power, which suggests that she may be the Dragon Reborn.
Hmm.
What I loved was Loghain's reaction
Yeah. Oh, me too. I put it here. I have it here too.
because it once again shows you he's not in search of power.
Mm-mm.
He looks at her, he sees the amount of power she has, and he says the raging sun because of what Moraine said.
Hmm.
And I think that in that moment, he stopped believing that he was the Dragon
Yep.
Reborn and believed that Nynaeve is and
Yep.
was ready to follow
I
her.
was ready. And they're just like those slow-mo tears that he's crying when he's being gentled. Just like the
Yes,
realization that it's all being taken away from you and you were wrong.
right. But it's the fact that, in my opinion, he immediately knew he was not the Dragon Reborn and was ready to follow Nynaeve
Hmm.
and call her the dragon
Yeah.
because he saw her power.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I
That
thought
scene
that
was
was,
so well done.
oh, I loved it.
Her braids rising into the air, the bright
Hmm.
light, everyone's wounds being knitted back together. Also, I want those braids.
I
I
want
gotta
those. I
get my
like,
hair
I
done.
almost went and got more today so I could just, I was like, I want long two-strand twists. I
Yeah, it
want
looked
them to
so
be
pretty. I really
long.
liked
Yeah.
it.
I think I'm gonna do it. Let's do it together. We'll be
And
twinsies.
then, and the, oh, and also, just going back a
Hmm.
little bit, the fact that the reason he was able to break free was because of Steppen and his attempted
Oh my
revenge.
God, his grief spiral. Oh,
But
actually, we
that
should go back and
surprised
talk
me.
about that. Yeah, that whole scene.
He felt when Karenni died,
Hmm.
almost got himself killed because of it.
Everything slowed down. It was beautiful.
Yes. And then he came in and tried to kill Logain.
Hmm.
And remember the axes kind of breaks through the shield partially, and then he's able to use that to break free.
Hmm.
I was surprised that Steppen did that, not because I didn't think he would be feeling immense grief from Karenni's death, but because I expected more discipline from a warder.
Yes. That's what surprised me too. For one, it surprised me because I thought that he would like, okay, well, they obviously have this under control. You are overcome with grief. I get it, but I also expected Land to like anticipate that, or like to be like, I thought like he should have been closer, like to hold him back.
But
And I feel
the
like it's
fact
just
that he
like
didn't
the
well,
fact.
the fact that Land didn't anticipate it and didn't hold him back makes me think even more it's out of character for a warder
Hmm.
to react
Yeah,
that way.
yeah. That's what I think. I think I feel like it was a plot armor, as you like to call it, plot furthering it along. Because we needed something to like, uh, you know, a catalyst, a
Mhm.
catalyst, for Nynaeve to be able to display her power as she went and she
Yeah.
did her quick triage assessment of the situation. Yeah, but we should
Yeah,
talk
that was
about
that
we
was
should talk about
intense.
her dying because there's that moment where he all of a sudden like the army comes through and then he's about to break out and it takes all three of them to put him back, but then Kirene sees the dark power going and in that moment they're using the one but she uses it to defend her sisters, right? And that's why she gets hit with the
Yeah.
darkness or whatever that was that killed her, the black barb, we'll call it, and he's able to save the
Yeah.
other two.
And in a way it reminded me of like in a lot of film, especially like horror,
Hmm.
you have what they call the magical Negro, the
Yeah.
person who's there, the person
Hmm.
who's there to basically die
AKA all Stephen King
for
books.
God, Stephen King.
Why? Get it
I
right.
love
Get a
him, but
black
he
friend, please. And stop writing
please
about us like we're
like,
all magical.
but like in a way, I felt like it was almost that,
Hmm.
but we did get far more from Karenni than I think we do from other black characters who end up giving their lives basically to protect the main character.
Right.
But you see it a lot.
Hmm.
They're kind of like just thrown into the story to die.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. I think she,
that
I
so
think,
that
go ahead.
to. I was gonna just say I was recently watching a documentary about Black horror, and it was one of the things they talked about, and so it was freshly on my mind, that trope of the magical Negro.
Hmm.
But I don't necessarily think Karenni was that though.
I don't think that she was. I didn't like it's something that I'm like hyper aware of, but that's not, it didn't come across my mind at all. Um, I thought it's just because you get so much, you get like, I think you get so much of her. And she's only with us for a short time, but like you get like the apprehension, you get like questions that I feel like the audience should be asking, kind of like put through her. Like she's wondering, are they doing the right thing? Or she is doing the right thing, but are they really doing the right thing? Um, and just being aware of just like all the aspects of what's going on around her. I'm sad that she died, but I enjoyed her for this episode.
I enjoyed her a lot, and I wish we got her a little longer. I would have
Ooh.
liked to see more of her because I feel like she was giving us pretty good insight
Mm-hmm.
for the Aes Sedai because Alana's Moirain's friend,
Yep.
and we know that Karenni basically wanted her to spy on her.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, she kind of jokes that she was supposed to wait 2 or 3 days.
Yeah.
We see that Leandrin talks to everyone except Karenni about gentling Logain ahead of time and coming up with a reason to be able to gentle him.
Mm-hmm.
So she's obviously some type of authority too.
Yeah.
And we know that she's very powerful. Moraine says, you've stopped armies, you've held back armies. And so we know she's also very powerful. Um, so I would have liked more Karenni. I liked her.
Yeah.
But
Or and
but this
Melissa, here I was gonna say Melissa was asking for about that scene in particular. She's like, what she feels that Karen gave a look over to her to over to the other two and like kind of like looked over like strangely at them, and was she thinks that something else happened over there, and I think that maybe she picked up on Leandrin drawing too much power, because Moraine words about that too, right?
yes,
She's like, I don't
yes.
care if I burn the fuck up. He killed her. And I was like, that's not why you're doing it. Like it's like further amplified your rage and your desire to gentle him. But, let's not get carried away, homie. And it's like you have to be
So and
worried about her, right? Because like even at the end, it's just she's got this look of like vindication on her face. Not like
mm,
someone who was just simply doing their duty, but someone who was enjoying it.
oh yeah, she's wanted to do this all along. When she
Mm-hmm.
gave the I guess the sentence,
Mm-hmm.
whatever it is that they say,
Mm-hmm.
um, she was waiting to say that. She was enjoying that moment for sure. That was really cool to watch too. Them
The
link up to
linking, oh
gentle
my
him.
God, yes. It's my favorite. I think it's
Oh,
my
I
favorite
loved
part of the
it. I loved
episode.
it. I loved it. I loved it. I loved it so much. Yeah.
I just made the symbol if you're asking, if you're wondering why.
um. So, but it also makes me wonder now, what happens to a warder when his Aes Sedai is dead?
That is what I want to know too. Apparently they become gleemen, according to my theory. But what
uh,
happens to him now? And I think like I would that's why I would really like to know. I hope in the animated origins that they have, I hope that at some point they get into that, because I would really like to know kind of like the lore behind that. How does it work when, one loses the other? And what do they go on to do with their careers after that?
I wonder if they're gonna bother to show us more of Logain post gentling.
I would love to see that. I hope he doesn't just.
Me
He's
too.
such a strong. It's just such a strong performance.
Yes, and like had so much power. I mean, he was basically hustling them.
Hmm.
Like he did his like little attempts to break free. And
Yeah.
now we know those were just like little baby attempts
Hmm.
just to like
To
tease them.
keep them on their guard because
Because
he
when
was
he
just biding his time.
right, he was waiting for his army.
Hmm.
Because once he was ready to get out, like he blew them the fuck out.
Yeah.
And he wasn't gesturing with his hands.
Yeah. Melissa pointed that out too.
Yeah, and remember Tom Maryland when he talks about his nephew, he talks about his nephew throwing a cup or something or a rock
Yeah.
without moving,
Without using
without
his
moving
hands.
his hands.
So is that something, is that a man thing? Like are men
I don't
able to
know.
channel without gesturing?
I don't know because it seems like the gestures are important because we see that the white cloak
Hmm.
questioner cuts off that Aes Sedai's hands, and I'm assuming it's so that she couldn't gesture to use the one power.
Hmm.
But Logain didn't seem to need to gesture.
Yeah. And neither did Nanaine.
So is it that
Nynaeve,
men
sorry.
don't need to? Huh?
But then neither did Naive. I mean, she was Nynaeve. She held her hands on
Well,
his, but.
yeah, I was gonna say she had her hands on his neck though, and that's the
Hmm.
same thing Karendi did when she
Hmm.
was healing Moiraine. So that was still somewhat of a gesture with her hands,
Hmm.
putting it over his wound. So it makes me wonder, does if that means that Logain was just that powerful
Yeah.
that he didn't even need to gesture, because that's also very terrifying.
Hmm.
So I want to see him post gentling. Like, is he all depressed? Does he want now to find the real Dragon Reborn?
Hmm. Does he become Nynaeve's warder?
I don't know, man. What are they gonna do to him? Are they gonna kill him? I mean, he's been gentled, so what
Yeah.
now? Do you lock him up? What do they do to men after they gentle them?
This is what we all want to know.
Because Owen just went back home,
Hmm.
but Logain raised armies. He wasn't just a random man who can channel. Like, he was
Yeah.
dangerous.
What do you do with those with the power of the people that he's? I mean, to me, it seems like an
Well,
easy
Logain
to
is
like.
gentled and captured,
Hmm.
and the king is dead.
Yeah.
So what happens to that army?
What
I
happens to
assume
the
it
army? Do they
dissolves.
just yeah run away and go back home because they're tired of fighting, or does I mean do they follow him anymore now that he's not now that he doesn't have power? Right? He's like, oh, I was wrong. So you have a dissolution army where going back and knowing that they were fighting for the wrong person. Like what does that
Hmm.
do to the morale of however many people were
Imagine it
following?
leaves them as broken men. This was a really, really good episode. I enjoyed it a lot.
I squealed while I was watching it.
Yeah, I was literally on the edge of my seat.
It's so good. I'm excited. And well, you guys don't know this, but Tanya knows that I don't watch previews for next episodes, so I have nothing to say about that.
Yeah, I didn't watch them either. I want to be completely surprised. Yeah,
Let's talk about real quick about the origin animated shorts.
I watched did I watch two of them? I think I watched two of them. I
Mm,
don't think I watched three. Or
mm,
maybe I watched three of them. I watched the first one,
the breaking of the world.
The Breaking of the World. Oh no, I did watch all three. I watched
There's
the
another one.
Manetheren one. I haven't watched the fourth one yet. I
Yeah.
watched
Let's
the
save that.
Greatest Warder one.
Let's save that.
Okay.
We'll save that. We can like maybe midweek do another really short episode and throw it out
Yeah, that'd be cool.
there. Yeah. I want
Yeah,
to
I
watch
haven't
them
watched
again.
the fourth one yet.
I'd like to watch them all back to back if I can.
That's a good idea.
But I like that. I would suggest if you haven't watched them, I did notice that I was able to get it on the TV this time. I don't know if they realized that that was a problem, because at first Tanya and I were only able to access them on mobile devices. But basically, it's an animated short that goes into like more of the lore of the world and kind of backstory, world building stuff, things that are fundamental to watching the show. So definitely check those out, and they look really
Yeah,
cool.
I'm gonna go back and watch. I'll go back and look for it on the TV and see if it works on the TV now.
Hmm.
If not, I'll just watch it on my iPad or whatever.
Yeah.
But I do enjoy them. I do enjoy them. Um, I think that's everything.
That's it.
So that's episode 4, The Dragon Reborn. We
Ooh.
are A Thousand Eyes on One, aka Thousand Eyes Podcast. I'm Tanya. This is Nikki.
Oh, it's me. Hi. I was somewhere in between stifling a burp and looking through my notes to make sure there was nothing else. Whoops.
You can find us on the socials, Twitter, Thousand Eyes One, Instagram, A Thousand Eyes on One, and Facebook, A Thousand Eyes on One. If you're interested in other speculative fiction, we do a, was it bi-monthly? Is that correct?
Mhm.
Bi-monthly book club
Yeah.
called Wine on an Empty Stomach. Our next book is
The fifth season
the 5th season
by N.K.
by N.K. Jemisin. Um,
I'm so
you know, if
excited
you
to
follow
start
us on
rereading
social
that.
media, you'll see. Me too. I love that book.
Oh.
She's like currently my favorite.
Oh, man.
If you follow us on social media, you'll see all the information about that stuff. If you want to listen to previous episodes, everything is up on thousandeyespodcast.com. It's just links to the old episodes, so you can find us on wherever you listen to podcasts or on YouTube. Links will be in the show notes as well.
Mhm.
And we will
Yeah.
see you. Not
Yeah,
see
we'll see you in the
'cause this isn't a
comments.
video.
We'll see you in
Yeah,
the
we'll see you in
comments.
the comments. And we can't always respond, but we do read them.
Keep it respectful,
Um,
people.
Yeah. No, it's been all good. Everyone's been well behaved so far.
So fun.
Nothing crazy.
Yeah, we're enjoying it. Thanks for listening.
So we'll see you next time for
Oh,
episode
wait.
5.
I just want to take a second and dedicate this episode to my friend Sonia Raquel.
Shout out to Sonia.
And now her watch is over.
And now her watch is on. Good night.
Good night.